So over the past couple days, I've been a little busy and haven't been able to play that much, but I was able to at least get in my dailies, and the two matches that I actually played were good examples of how you as a Floowandereeze player can potentially play through opponents' boards that set up negates and things that might seem kind of really tough to play through as a bird player. So what we're going to take a look at in these next two matches are two boards that the opponents set up, two very different decks, both very powerful decks, but how you can kind of use your hand and different tools in the Floowandereeze deck in order to play around the opponent's setup and or negates and or interruptions. So starting off, we are taking a look at a Punk Bystial variant of a deck here, and this deck is extremely powerful. I can't wait for the secret pack, the Punk secret pack to come out. I'm definitely going to build that on an alt account because I bought these cards in real life with the release of the Monstrous Revenge, where it reprinted like Foxy Tune and stuff. So really excited for that. Now the deck in Master Duel is very different than the deck in the TCG because they have Chaos Ruler, and as you can see, this is like one of the main facilitating plays. The opponent is on a 60 card variant, revealing that they are indeed playing Tearlament cards as well. Kind of nuts because yeah, 60 cards and Tearlaments don't normally go well together in my opinion unless you draw grass, but it's at 2. Anyways, the opponent does get lucky and gets a Merly off of that, so now they're going to go into Kit Kalos, and this is like full combo for them, it looks like, right? They're getting like every engine piece possible running. They've got the Bystials, they've got the Tearlament cards going, they've got their Punk engine rolling, they've got, you know, rank 8 Xyz plays potentially, but the positive is, and I've talked about this in other videos, no Agito, no Kelbeck milled yet, thankfully. They do have a Grave Shuffler that we have to potentially worry about with our Stree target. But without them milling our deck, they're going for cards that don't really have any impact against us. Like the only thing that Rukalis is good for against Floowandereeze is other aqua monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. We don't care about the other effect because we don't special summon. And we just have to be careful if we send this off of Unexplored Winds because it'll come back. So yeah, the opponent is kind of just popping off, going full combo here. They got the Regained up, they go into Masquerena, so they opt not to go into like a rank 8 Xyz play. They could go into like Harbinger or something like that to negate a spell, but they're going to actually opt to go into APOLLOUSA. So this board is strong because it's going to be a triple APOLLOUSA negate that is indestructible thanks to IP Masquerena being used as material. And they've got a special summon negate. They probably have a Bystial in hand to draw off Regained and or a hand trap. And they're going to get Magnum. Well, yeah, they're going to get Magnum Switch right here anyways, right? So Magnum grabs back Druid's Worm. So they definitely have a Bystial interruption. Not that it matters against us unless we draw Shifter, but, you know, the time for Shifter is kind of already passed. The opponent already full comboed. So this is a problem, right? APOLLOUSA is like, how do you play through that? You can't Book of Moon it. If you don't play Dark Ruler, you don't play Imperm, like... You have no real out to it, right? It's going to just negate your monsters and, you know, up to 3 times, and Floowandereeze can't even special summon that many times, so you're kind of screwed, right? Well, let's take a look here. We've got double Pot of Extravagance, Advent of Adventure, a Book of Moon, and a Toucan. We know the opponent has 1 Bystial. Their only interruption from the graveyard, it looks like, will be the Mudora, right? The Thunder Dragon Hawk can come into play, but not right now. This card is basically like a reload or Magical Mallet when it's banished. So they could Bystial banish this and kind of redraw some cards to try to unbrick, depending on if we're able to set up and break their board. So even if we do break their board, you have to be aware of what the game state is, because what is the opponent's follow-up? Are they going to be able to come back and break your board? Usually turn 1, these kind of big heavy combo decks, if you break their board, like they're not playing 2 Chaos Ruler, they're not playing 2 APOLLOUSA, they're not playing 2 Rukalos, so once you out these resources, unless they have a way to shuffle them back, which this person does in the Mudora, but they likely won't use it for that, like they're not going to full combo again, so they have to have an alternative combo, likely a weaker combo. So you got to keep all of these things in mind when you're kind of taking into consideration what you want to do, because I imagine some people might just look at this and be like, I'm just going to scoop because it's not even worth my time waiting here, letting the opponent combo. But you should always at least weigh your options, because this is how you become a better player. So we draw Eaglin for turn. Of course, the first thing we're going to do is Extravagance and see if the opponent wants to Ash. They don't opt to Ash if they have one. We draw another Toucan and an Unexplored Winds. This is very important because the Advent of Adventure is going to be the card that beats the APOLLOUSA here. So we're going to Advent, banish the Toucan since we've got 2. Again, going to the deck list that's linked in the description, we play 2 Toucan, not 2 Stree. There's just too many interruptions still floating around for Stree, in my opinion. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and search map, activate Unexplored Winds, activate map. Map is going to reveal the Eaglin, and we're going to banish the Empin. Now, you might be wondering, why the hell would you banish Empin there and not a bird to further continuing to chain block? Well, we only need to chain block once, because the chain block of this toucan will be the only thing that the APOLLOUSA can negate. They will not be able to negate my Eaglin search and resummon. So my Eaglin is going to search out a tribute monster, and the fact that we drew the unexplored winds, again, playing 2. I've even seen, I think somebody already got to master on July 4th or something, and they were playing 3 copies of this. This is how important this card is now for the deck. But we're going to be able to search a tribute monster with the Eaglin, and then use unexplored winds to tribute over the APOLLOUSA. So at most, the APOLLOUSA will negate the chain link 2 of the toucan coming back to hand. Our Eaglin is guaranteed to resolve here, right? So let's see, does the opponent opt to negate the toucan? They might as well. Oh, okay, so they're going to actually get the regained effect to special summon Magnamut here because we summon a monster. Again, regained is such a good card. Oh, it's absolutely insane. And then they're going to get Magnamut search next as well. So you know what, actually, even like looking at this even more in depth for this specific scenario, I think if they opted to APOLLOUSA negate, they couldn't activate regained here, which again wouldn't really matter because we have another summon anyway, so they probably could have denied me the toucan, but obviously in the end it wouldn't have mattered because this is why we ended up banishing the Empin, is because we have 2 toucans. So either we get this one back to hand or the opponent negates it, we still have the other one in hand to get back the Empin. So we were playing around this setup the whole time based on our hand. So regardless though, we're going to be able to search out Snowl here and then use unexplored winds and get rid of the only interruption that matters for us and bring out the Snowl. Now this, we still have our normal summon for turn because we were summoning off map, but Snowl is going to give us an additional 2 summons for a total of 3 summons, but we're actually not going to need it, but it's totally fine. So you could argue, you know, Quantum, you probably should have gone for like, what do you call it? Apex Avion or Ryza to actually get additional interruptions through. Well, not Ryza because we're not going to use unexplored winds with the Ryza to out the APOLLOUSA. So we'd probably go for Apex for a negate, but the Snowl has some utility during the opponent's turn as well, so we'll kind of just keep it the way it is. So we don't have a Robina in rotation, but the unexplored winds is acting as our second tribute material, right, for one of the opponent's cards. So normal summon of the toucan now for turn. We still have 2 more normal summons, but you probably won't even use them. And then we're going to go ahead and get the regained out of here. So this prevents the opponent from getting the banish and draw 1 effect off of the Druid Worm, which they'll likely summon to field because obviously they must realize by now that their Bystials don't do anything. So yeah, we're going to go Empin 1, Eaglin 2 to chain block. And you know, again, the whole thing was how do we play around this APOLLOUSA? We had a perfect setup to play around it by chain blocking. And this is how you can definitely deal with boards that put up big negates. If they're not targeted negates, like they're chainable negates, you actually have a good chance of playing around it. Because again, map can banish, Advent of Adventure can banish to chain block with the birds. This is actually one of the subtleties of this deck that people overlook quite frequently, and it being able to play through interruption. So yeah, we're going to clear the opponent's board. We end up having to banish the Eaglin here in order to beat over the Rukalos. So like I said earlier, you don't want to use unexplored winds to send Rukalos because it'll just come back anyways. So just beat over it, get it off the field, and you're done. So now we know the opponent has Soronir and Druid Worm, and they're going to draw for turn. So they've got 2 mystery cards. I'm not afraid of evenly matched in a 60 card pile. So I'm fine with like kind of overcommitting my board just a little bit here. But yeah, evenly matched would beat me here for sure. So the opponent is going to opt to bring out Soronir in order to trigger the Thunder Dragon Hawk as explained earlier. And the Thunder Dragon Hawk will Magical Mallet their hand. They're going to put back just 2 cards. They draw 2. They opted likely to keep the Druid Worm. Very unlikely they put it back and drew it. So they've got 2 mystery cards here. Upon the summon of the Druid Worm, I'm going to chain Dreaming Town. Now, why would I do this here? What would be the reason? I don't actually know, to be honest. Am I afraid of a rank 6 Xyz play? Maybe. My guess is that would be it. But oh, I think I know why. Because if they normal summon for turn, I can't actually use map because I used my only 2 birds in rotation. I had to use the toucan to get back the Eaglin. So yeah, this is not great. But we're gonna bring out the Ryza and just put them on no resources. Oh, they also had follow-up play with the Chaos Ruler, banish a light and dark, and special summon this back to the field. So this is maybe why I just wanted to prevent them from setting up some kind of combo. We're going to, yeah, prevent their other graveyard play. They're not going to use Medora here. They could have used it to shovel back trap on activation when it goes like on the summon of the bird, and then when it goes to graveyard, but there's no point. So yeah, we're going to completely out the opponent's field here and put them on You Better Have a Good Normal Summon. So yeah, we end up putting back the Chaos Ruler, putting back the Bystial, flipping this Bystial face down. So now they're on 2 cards and have to have a good normal summon. They do have Ogre, which is really good, and they grab Xiamen, so this is a 1-card starter for the deck. But again, we play 3 Book of Moon, so on the normal summon, because we don't have anything to summon off map here, we're able to book the Xiamen and stop the opponent's plays completely, and then next turn we just OTK, going for Apex Avian. The Snowl gives piercing battle damage too, but we just tribute over the opponent's cards anyways, and we go for game. So going second, you can see how we were able to play through that opponent's board, understanding how the chain blocking works in order to play around that APOLLOUSA.